learning Be'ez Hashem this man Hilchas Kiddush. We say every Friday night in Kiddush, Tchilo l'mikroi kodesh. Tchilo l'mikroi kodesh, Zeichel Yitzias Mitzrayim. The tour in the first pshat explains, you say Kiddush every Friday night. What's Tchilo l'mikroi kodesh? Zeichel Yitzias Mitzrayim. Mikroi kodesh, Yom Tov Zeichel Yitzias Mitzrayim. What's Tchilo l'mikroi kodesh? So the tour in the first pshat explains from this week's Parsha. Parshas Emor is the Parshas Hamayadim, and before the Parshas Hamayadim, Tchila is Shabbos, and then afterwards Mikroi Kodesh. There's a few other pshatim, but it's this week's Parsha. We'll open up with the tour. The Mitzvas Kiddush that we're learning now is a mitzvah d'oraisa, one of the Taryag mitzvahs, learned from the Aseres HaDibros in Parshas Yisroi. Zocher is Yom HaShabbos L'Katshoi, a pasuk in the Torah, and you learn from there. It's a mitzvah d'oraisa to make Kiddush. The Gemara in Pesachim Kuvav and Aleph brings the pasuk. The Gemara there is behandling Yayin, but the Makoiris from the pasuk. There's a Machlokes Rishonim. If the limud is from the Zocher, some Rishonim say that it's the Zocher part. We'll soon see how you do it, how you accomplish it. But Zocher al Yedei Kiddush is by the Kiddush, Yimakayim Kiddush, with the Zocher is Yom HaShabbos L'Katshoi. Me'idach the Ramban in Parshas Yisroi, pretty arichas. The Ramban says the opposite. The L'Katshoi is where Yimakayim the mitzvah. Taka overlap with the Koil Boik. We spoke about this in Parshas Yisroi. Machlokes Rishonim, the Rambam, it's not clear in the Rambam. Some want to try to be medayik in the Rambam, but in Pashtus the Rambam just brings the pasuk. Loshen Rambam, mitzvah min HaTorah l'kadosh es Yom HaShabbos b'dvarim, shenemar zocher es Yom HaShabbos l'katshoi. The Rambam brings the whole pasuk. How you makayim this mitzvah? The mitzvah midoraisa. How you makayim this mitzvah? So zok the Rambam a perik chof tes behelchas Shabbos. Zochrehu zechiras shvach v'kiddush. The way to be makayim this mitzvah d'oraisa is by saying zechiras shvach, praise, v'kiddush, kiddush, heiligkeit. We'll soon see more. The Rambam in Sefer HaMitzvos, when bringing the mitzvah, the Rambam says the lashon inside a little bit more by riches. So the Rambam, he should tzivanu l'kadosh es HaShabbos v'lo midvar b'knisasi b'tziyasi avad havdalah. We're not learning now havdalah, but it's the same idea. Zok the Rambam, niskor bam goydel hayoim hazeh u'malosai. We should remember the goydel hayoim v'havdalasai, how you mekadosh HaShabbos by differentiating Shabbos meshara yomim hakoydmim imenu v'ba'am achrav v'hu amri yisal zochas Yom HaShabbos L'Katshoi. The same thing, the chinuch, a mitzvah lamed aleph, the same idea, the essence of Kiddush, zok the chinuch, sheyeh bem zecher gedulas hayoim u'ma'alosai v'havdalasai l'shvach mishara yomim. So Kiddush, to be makayim, the mitzvah, the eraisa of zochras Yom HaShabbos L'Katshoi, is bidvarim, to speak divrei shvach. Ba'oifen, lav dafka, to say the bracha of Kiddush. Reb Kiveger says in Agoyis that you makayim by even saying Good Shabbos. Good, we're going to speak about it now, Behemshech and the Shiur. Chavetz Chaim asks, where exactly do you have divrei shvach v'kiddush? You're just saying Good Shabbos. So how could you be yotzei Kiddush? And for then, in Chut Shani, or Missing Karel, says that you do have, because you don't say a good Sunday, so you're only saying it Shabbos. That taka differentiates Shabbos from every other day. So maybe you are yotzei makayim Kiddush, but al kaponim Kiddush so far, and it's going to be like that. So the Kiddush is by saying divrei shvach, the Kiddush, that's the yotzei Kiddush.
Good morning, good afternoon.
Then you're not yotzei. That Itaka says, Klar, Avada, Fakert, Sunday, Monday, you always say good morning, good afternoon. Shabbos, The word is when you're saying good Shabbos and not just good morning, that's the Havdalah of Shabbos from the other days.
I'm just saying you don't say anything better on Shabbos.
You're saying the day.
You're saying the same thing that you say in the week. What are you saying more on Shabbos than the week?
What I mean, if you say Shabbos, you say good Shabbos. You don't say that on a Sunday. So with that, you're bringing out Kiddush HaShabbos more than the other days. Oh, so Yom Tov, we're not going to speak about Yom Tov. Yom Tov is B'chalal a Shaila if you Mekayim. If there's a mitzvah, this Kiddush, who said he's B'chalal a mitzvah? Zocher as Yom HaShabbos L'katshei, who said that there's such a mitzvah on Yom Tov also? Hayois we established that there's a mitzvah of Kiddush B'dvarim, and it's lav dafka. Kiddush doesn't mean the Kiddush that you make Friday night before the Suda. Kiddush means Shvach the Kiddush. That is the definition of Kiddush. Zok the Magen Avram, a Kiddush, the first Magen Avram in Hilchas Kiddush, the Mishnah Berurah brings it in Sivkot and Beis, that you're yoytze with davening. Why are you yoytze with davening? Because in davening, the fourth bracha, the bracha Amtsoyis by davening Friday night, you speak divrei shvach v'kiddush. So mainly you're yoytze. You're yoytze. What says you're yoytze? Meaning to say, avada, you're going to go home later and make kiddush at home. Besides to be moitze, whoever needs kiddush, but you're also going home to make kiddush for yourself, for the derabonans, which we'll soon see it's lav dafka, it's derabonon, but to be yoytze the din of alakois, and to have kiddush b'makim suda. But the ikir din da'iraisa, you're already yoytze b'tfilah. Why not? You said divrei shvach v'kiddush.
I think the nekuda was they have to think about vayichulu when you say Friday, not just the divrei. Oh, that's the only thing. That's the only shvach we say Friday night. Vayichulu.
What do you mean? During the bracha in Shmai Esrei.
You're mentioning Shabbos. You're saying things. So let's say I thought the focus was that paragraph that you have to have in mind, but kavan that it should be that you mekayim mitzvah kiddush with it. And if you're not, then it's not a deraisa.
So we're going to speak about if you have to have kavana, and we'll also speak a little bit soon behemshech. Where exactly in davening do you have? We'll get to that also. Behemshech of the kashas. Good point. Very good. So what do we have? Klaus Dr. Magen Avram, you mekayim the mitzvah deraisa that the Torah says to make kiddush, you mekayim it during Shmai Esrei. The Magen Avram brings a raya from Tosfos and Psachim Kuvav Amud Beis. Zok Tosfos Shitas Rabbeinu Tam, that if you don't have wine, so we know you make on challah. Shitas Rabbeinu Tam is you can't make on pas. The brought la halacha l'tchatchila not to do it. The Rabbeinu Tam says in ein lo yayin lo yekadish. Shitas Rabbeinu Tam and Tosfos. So the shaila is, what do you mean lo yekadish? Why lo yekadish? You should make kiddush without wine and without pas. Why shouldn't you? These are deraisa. The teretz is for the deraisa you already yoytze b'tfilah. Right from the Magen Avram. With this yesod of the Magen Avram, Zokt Reb Kiveger. Reb Kiveger brings a raya to the din of the Magen Avram, the yoytze b'tfilah. Why? He asks a kasha. Yom Kippur shechal yos b'Shabbos. This coming Yom Kippur, ba'aleinu l'toy v'tavshin pei is Shabbos. Frekt Reb Kiveger, why don't we make kiddush? There's a mitzvah in the Torah to make kiddush. So Yom Kippur, you don't have to make kiddush. I'm not sure if the shaila is you should make kiddush ala kois. Mila, we do ala kois. Good. We do ala kois. What you do with the kois, but you should make kiddush on a kois, not on a kois. Why don't you make kiddush? Mekayim the mitzvah deraisa of kiddush Friday night of Yom Kippur. Out Yom Kippur, what you asked before Yom Tov, good, that's a shaila. But out Shabbos, Zokt Reb Kiveger, al pi the Magen Avram, it's klar, because l'maisa you mekayim the mitzvah of kiddush by davening. During Shmai Esrei, when you also mention Shabbos, you mekayim the deraisa. And Memela, Reb Kiveger concludes that taka, it's davening. You don't have to have the bracha, the mekayim deraisa. You don't have to be make the bracha even without a bracha during Shmai Esrei. But even Shmai Esrei, it's not because it's a bracha. That's what Reb Kiveger says is yisoid. And then if you say good Shabbos, you're yoytze. But often, if you stop right here, We'll soon see these nafka minas ladina, but be'etzem, if you stop right here, if a person couldn't daven, let's say he's in a place, he doesn't have a siddur and he doesn't have food, la'or this Magen Avram and how the Reb Kivega brings it out, that you could be yoytze b'dvarim, which that's the pashtus hadin, so a person should say divrei shvach v'kiddush, say words of praise of Shabbos Kodesh, and you're yoytze. Shmanesa, for some reason you can't daven, you don't have food, so say divrei shvach v'kiddush. The Lashon HaBir Halacha, the Bir Halacha says, "U'medoraisa yoytze bezet ein chiyuv bracha," meaning to say you don't have to make a bracha, not a bracha of Shemay Nestor, not a bracha of daven, of Kiddush, even without a bracha. These two nafkaminas ladina, the Chavetz Chaim brings these nafkaminas. Nafkamina number one, Zok the Prima Godim, b'mokim Safek. If a person's mesupik if he made Kiddush. So be'etzem Kiddush is d'oraisa, Safek d'oraisa l'chumra. You have to make Kiddush again. Hayois, you were yoytze already by davening. So come to Chayis, the Kiddush Friday night by the Suda is only d'Rabbanan, Safek d'Rabbanan l'kula. Chayis, where is it heichatimtze that a person's besupik if he made Kiddush? This coming year Purim is Friday. It's a Purim Sholosh for us. It's Friday. So, you know, busy Paris map. I mean, you ate a Suda and you forgot, you forgot if you made Kiddush. If you have a family, it's not so easy to forget. But this, a bach, whatever, you forgot if you made Kiddush. So what do? It's a suffix. You got up 2 a.m., everybody's sleeping, the whole family. You're mesupik if you made Kiddush. But if you at least know you daven Ma'ariv, so Zok the Magen Avram, you were yoytze de deraisa, so now it's a suffix d'Rabbanan, l'kula. As I Zok the Prima Godim and Nafkamina Ladina. Nafkamina Ladina. Va'oit, another Nafkamina. Another Nafkamina is, if a cotton, if a cotton can be moitzi, somebody, can be moitzi a gadol. So the first thing is avada nat, because the cotton's derabanan and the gadol's deraisa. By Yois, the god already daven, the male for him, it's also derabanan, it's a male, it's a derabanan. It could also be negeya be'etzem, against be'etzem, a simple this nafkamina, more on a practical, where's the son, kid being moitzi his father, but it could be a shtickle negeya, but makom if the father's not home, and the mother, let's say, daven Ma'ariv. So that's where it's the same din. So could a 12-year-old son make Kiddush for the mother? This is where it's klor a nafkamina ladina. La'or the Magen Avram, that the mother that's mechuyev midoraisa daven Shemay Nestor already, so it's the Rabbanan, kibi moitze the Rabbanan.
They're allowed, ladies don't go to daven all the time, and certainly don't daven Ma'ariv a lot of time, once a day sometimes. So, person comes, he goes to shul, comes back and reads Kiddush for his wife.
We're going to conclude this shaila, gavaldik. This is going to be the takeaway to conclude. I want to first go through with all the shilas. It's a good shaila. What'd you say?
Nah, but a lot of them don't.
A lot of the ladies don't matter.
What'd you say? Well, it's a great shaila. We're gonna end with that. Be'ez Hashem. What? Good. That also is the same thing, Enochanami. But over there, we'll get to that also. Bar mitzvah bacher, that shalehev, it's a suffix. Be'etzem should be the same nafkamina, but we'll get to that also. Is l'maitza like this. So that's the Magen Avram with two nafkaminas ladina. I'm going to try to move through b'siyata d'shmaya quite a few ha'aris on the Magen Avram, Meshibura, the Bir Halacha, others bring, and we'll see, and then we'll try to come to see of a l'maitza. The first thing, Dafim Wissen, that the Prima Godim says in Akdama to Orach Chaim, a little bit, it's merumis b'toich dvarav right here, but in the Akdama he spells it out clearly, and with this he's choylek on the Magen Avram, and he says he is soid gadol, that when the Chachamim include something in a mitzvah d'oraisa, you do not have the mitzvah d'oraisa only if you makayim the d'Rabbanan. Here, right here, in shul you made Kiddush, Shemay Nesrei, you made Kiddush, but you don't have alayayin. I feel that yayin is midrabanan, but when the Chacham said we wanted surah of Kiddush should be with wine, if you don't make it with wine, you're not yoytze b'chlal. The Chachamim were oiker the din HaTorah, you're not makayim the deraisa. So Mamel over here, the Magen Avram says you yoytze already the deraisa by davening, and we saw nafka minas ladina at home. It's only the rabbanon. No, you're not yoytze. You're not yoytze by shul because you didn't do it al yain. You're not yoytze. It's Chelik Gimel Ois Ches. Clearly, he brings the Magen Avram. He says this Yisoid. Chelik Gimel Ois Ches in the Psyche Koilelis of the Pri Megadim. Weiter. The next Shaila, the Chavetz Chaim brings the Shaila. Hayois, we hold mitzvahs tzrichas kavana, at least by the Raisa, Simon Samach. We paskin ladina that by a deraisa it's ma'akiv. If you don't have kavana, you're not yoytza. Mitzvah shrichas kavana. We're not mechavan by Shmai Nesri to be yoytza. So mainly you're not yoytza. So the Magen Avram says you're yoytza the deraisa. You're mechavan by davening. Who's mechavan? You're not mechavan. But enechanami taka. The Gabi, this shaila, if you are mechavan, you'll be yoytza. We mentioned before, Reb Kiveger brings the Magen Avram, and he says, Boiridik, that's why Yom Kippur by night, Shechalias b'Shabbos, Yoytze Kiddush by Shmai Nesrei. Zokte Chassam Sofer, the Edom of Reb Kiveger, Vada, you should be mechaven. This coming Yom Kippur by night, you should be mechaven that you want to be Yoytze. Because Mitzvah Tzrichas Kavan, you should be mechaven.
What's your mechaven for? So you didn't make Kiddush at home? Anyway.
No. Yom Kippur,
you
should be mechaven. I'm sorry if I wasn't clear. Yom Kippur, Shechal Yoyis B'Shabbos, by Shmai Nesrei, you should be mechaven that you want to be Yoytze, the Mitzvah say the rice of Kiddush.
Even the Mitzvah the rice is Kiddush. But the Indian of Kiddush is to be Mavdil, to be Mekadosh HaYoyim, to be Mavdil Shabbos, separate Shabbos. That's what you're doing when you say Shabbos. I mean, there's a Mokum Lachla to say that the whole Indian is to say something unique about Shabbos. That's what davening is. So when I'm davening, assuming you're having a little kavanah, right? You know you're sitting in Mekadosh Shabbos, or by Yechulu, or by Etzner.
So you're going it good. Lamaisa, it's a good ara. It's a emes a good ara. If I remember correctly, I think it's the Chayadab in Mitzvah Shichas Kavana, Maisa of Mechichen. So, but it's lav dafka. It's Maisa of Mechichen. You're mechaven? What do you mean mechaven? You mean if you're saying we're not mechaven for the mitzvah by saying the words, the Pirush Hamilas already? Oh, Lamaisa, La'or, Zevi, La'or, your question. Now I understand. The Chassam Sofer says, but it's better, however, not to be mechaven to be yoytza. We'll get to your thing. Better not to be mechaven to be yoytza, because like this, when you make Kiddush at home, you're doing the deraisa al hayayin. As I said, the Chassam Sofer. Interesting, Me'idoch, they bring in Shmir Shabbos Kolchas, they bring sort of Shlomo Zalman. He says, no, what's the problem? He doesn't say these words, you're doing two mitzvahs, but he says, what's the problem? Just like Avdali, you make Avdali by Shmai Nesrei, then you make Avdali Akos. You make Kiddush Friday night in Shul, to Makayim the Deraisa, and then you do again the mitzvah, the Rabbanon.
Shavuot also says it's better to not be yoytze.
Who?
Shavuot also says it's better not to be yoytze.
Not to be yoytze during David, like this you saw it, yeah.
What do you...
Lamaisa, do you have to have kavana lehepech shaloi latzes? Do you have to have kavana, do you have to be mechaven by Shmai Nesrei, before Shmai Nesrei, I don't want to be yoytze Kiddush? Pashas, you don't have to have kavana lehepech. We spoke about this the last year before Pesach by Svira, the Shulchan Aruch Harav, if you have to have kavana lehepech. Pashas over here, if mitzvah shrichas kavana mederaisa, you have to have kavana. If you don't have, you're blank, you don't have kavana, that's enough. In Shevet HaLevi, Ravoz is mesupik. He's mesupik, maybe you have to have kavana lehepech. So I'm just wondering, what Zevi was saying, that the pshat is that there's no blank kavana. If you daven Shmai Nesrei and you say the words, even if you're not mechaven to be makayim the mitzvahs haboirei of Kiddush, Lamaisa, you're thinking the words, you're doing it. Unless that's vaita, could be that's vaita, not called kavana. Kavana means you have to be mechaven to do the mitzvahs HaTorah.
She said, good Shabbos, it's certainly not Makabim to good Shabbos, not Makabim to Kiddush. Good Shabbos, it's Makabim Kiddush. No, it's Makabim to, so they put him just the words alone.
Also, that's Shaila number 2. Shaila number 2 is that mitzvah tzrichas kavana. You don't have kavana.
Why? Why can't you do this mitzvah twice? Why?
Do it. Reb Shlomo Zalman says you could do it twice. There's no problem. No, 1 second. Let's go back. The Ikka
The rice, once you eat the rice, we do the rice. Want to do the rice? But look, it's also do both. Why did the rice so once, and the rice like this? You can do it 5 times. You take a whole day, take it in. No, make someone else. Why not? Is it a mitzvah, one time mitzvah?
So you're saying a big chiddush. You're saying that the pshat is... L'maisa. You're saying Shabbos. You're saying Shabbos. The whole. The Ramban says Zohar is every day or Yom Rishon. L'maisa is like this. You're saying just like this tzad maybe by svira l'mashal. The more you count, you're constantly oisek. You're saying in Kiddush also. The pashtus in Kiddush is, and that's what you're supposed to do right away, the aside of Kiddush is to be mavdal, just like Avdallah, from Shabbos to Chayil, you bring in Shabbos by being Makadish. I don't know, once you made Kiddush already, you could say it a bunch of times, you say it in the morning also, you say it once, you Makadish Shabbos. And that's why Taka Zokta Chasam Sofer, don't be Yoitze with davening Shmanesah Deraisa. So like this, you could be Yoitze the Deraisa, Bihidura of the Derabanans also. Shlomo Zalman says, Yoitze Deraisa, you do again another mitzvah the Derabanan.
If you don't have Makam Suda, isn't the Kiddush Papa also?
So we're going to get to this also. Pashtus, the B'makam Suda is only the Rabbanan. So the Deraisa, Zokta Mogan Avram, the Deraisa Makayim by davening. We had the Pri Megadim Shaila number 1 was that when the Chacham told you to do something, you don't even have the Deraisa. So just like you don't have the Yayin, you also, if you don't have Yayin, you're not Yoitz Deraisa, what the Kiddush Makam Suda. The Pashtus, the Vailu will go now, it's the Rabbanon. So Zokta Mogan Avram, the Deraisa, Yoitza.
Same you said, it's Pri Megadim.
Richtig, for both, yeah. So what do we have so far? We have the Mogan Avram says he Yoitza by davening. Kasha number 1, Pri Megadim's Chaylik, that Lamaisa you're not Yoitza by davening. Number 2 is Mitzvah's Tzrichas Kavana Samel, you're not Yoitza by davening. Number 3, these are din, it's a Gemara in Psachim Kuf Yud Zayin Amad Beis Zokta Gemara Omer of Acher by Yaakov Tzarich Lahaski Yitzias Mitzrayim B'Kiddush Hayom. A person is mechuyev. Is required, is mechuyev to say Yitzias Mitzrayim by Kiddush. Yitaka say, we say Zechel Yitzias Mitzrayim by Kiddush every single Friday night. And the Gemara brings a drasha, but Pashtus the Chiyuv is Medairaisa. So Mamela, the Minchas Chinuch asks the question, the Bialacha brings it, and he brings it that the Minchas Chinuch asks the Shaila, that you're not Yoitza, and during davening, because during davening you don't say Zechel Yitzias Mitzrayim. Yom Tov you say Zechel Yitzias Mitzrayim. In Shabbos you open up a siddur, you're not going to see anywhere Zechel Yitzias Mitzrayim. Lamaisa the Bialacha, that's the long Bialacha, the Bialacha Lakan, and the Bialacha says it could be you do have Zechel Yitzias Mitzrayim from before Shmoy Nesrei. Hashkivenu, you speak about the Zechel, the Psukim, Kriya Shema, different places. In Birchas Kriya Shema, they speak about Yitzias Mitzrayim. But then he says that it's a big hefsek from there all the way into Shmei Nesrei. Well, you mentioned by Vayechulu, there's a big hefsek. He says, could be you have Veshamru. So it's not a hefsek, the Veshamru before Shmei Nesrei. So then it's very close by. Lakan. Good, you're right. Lafida Gra, very good. Lafida Gra, you don't have the Eitz of Veshamru. The Chavetz Chaim is back and forth, lakan. It doesn't give us such a clear eitz if you have Yitzias Mitzrayim.
You're the rice and not in Shmon Esrei, but before Shmon Esrei.
Yeah.
Or not even in Shmon Esrei.
If you have everything before, so.
But the Mitzvahs Kavanah was saying that.
By the way, the Magen Avram, we could check it up. The Magen Avram doesn't say Shmon Esrei; he says Betfilah. So Enochanami Taka, it's even before Shmon Esrei. Medaraisa b'kiddush ha'omer b'tfila during davening sagi. Okay, that's the third question. You don't have zeichel tziyus mitzrayim. I just want to say mamash bekitzer. These are moiridige svasemes on that Gemara. The svasemes learns that Gemara is only Pesach by night. It's ain't kind of we don't have time to go into it. It's medayik. The whole Gemara is only referring to Pesach by night. That is a chiyuv to be masker by Kiddush zeichel tziyus mitzrayim. It's a geschmack, a shtickle, but that would be b'yashav. So you don't need it. The next question. The next shaila is Reb Kiveger's shaila on the Magen Avram, based off the Rosh and Psachim. The Rosh and Psachim holds that Kiddush b'makam Suda is deraisa, and he brings a raya from the Gemara. The Gemara asks, why do we make Kiddush in shul? The minig was to make Kiddush in shul. Why do we make Kiddush in shul? So frek the Rosh, what do you mean? Why do we make Kiddush in shul? To be Makayim, the deraisa. What's the shaila? That's a frek the Rosh. What's the Gemara asking? Why do we make Kiddush in shul? What do you mean? We make Kiddush in shul to be Yotze, the Mitzvas say the rice of Kiddush. So Zok the Rosh, Al Karchach, if the Gemara doesn't say that, you're not Yotze the rice. So why not? Because you don't have Kiddush Shemakim Suda. Shmami no Kiddush Shemakim Suda the rice. So that's not tonight's Shiur, but that's the Rosh. Frek Kiveger, wait a second. The Gemara asks why. The Gemara asks why you're making Kiddush in shul. So the Rosh has a chach al karchach that you're not going to be yotze. Zaktim Kivega, you know why the Gemara is asking why they make Kiddush in shul? Loit the Magen Avram that you yotze Kiddush in Shmon Esrei already. So why do you have to make Kiddush a minute later in shul? That's as if Rektiv Kiveger. If like the Magen Avram, that's Pashup Pshat in the Gemara. When the Gemara asks, why do you make Kiddush in shul? You know what the Gemara is asking? You just made Kiddush a minute ago in Shmon Esrei, so you don't have to make Kiddush. The other two shilas, now I have to end on time, because if not I'm contradicting the speaker, so... The next shaila is if you hold that yayin is deraisa. There are such shitas. I can't go through the makairis. These are shitas, the mafarish and nazid of gimel on the days of dalid. These are geshmak Ran and Shabbos. When the Ran asks, how could it be that you near Chanukah persuminisa kaidem shalom bayis before Kiddush? So frek the Ran, what do you mean? Kiddush is deraisa. So Zok the Ran, no, you don't have to have wine. You can have pas. But zetzachois, the pe'etzim yayin is deraisa. Al kaponim, if you hold yayin is deraisa, then you're not yoitza with the Magen Avram. Kiddush by davening. And the same shaila, it's called shaila number 6, is if you hold you need Kiddush b'makom suda deraisa, the Rosh, so also you can't be yoitza. So yoitza makola now on the Magen Avram that says that you yoitza during davening deraisa, and we say or nafkeminas ladina. There are 6 questions. Number 1, the prima godim, that when you have a derabanan, you're not yoitze the deraisa if you don't do a ketzuris derabanan. Number 2, mitzvahs shichas kavana, which we said is a eitza be machaven. Number 3, you're not maski yitzias mitzrayim, which we also saw a shtickle eitza. Either you have it in davening, maybe the svasemes. These are eitza. Reb Kiveger's kash on the Gemara, on the Hachachas Harash. Means it's not a kasha l'mais on the Magen Avram, but it's a kasha on the Magen Avram. What's the Rosh as a chacha from a Rishon? And then we ask Lagabi Yayin and Lagabi Kiddush Makom Suda. L'maisa, because of this whole the kashas, the Chavetz Chaim doesn't bring all the kashas, but Mekoyich these kashas. Zok the Chavetz Chaim yesh lefakbik b'zeh harbe. You can't rely on the Magen Avram l'maisa. The Derech HaChaim, the Nesiva says not to rely on this. And Memela, a cotton should not be Monsey a gadol. Cotton should not be Monsey a gadol. However, somebody mentioned before, a Ben Yud Gimel, there he says, a bar mitzvah bacher could. It's the chasafik if he's a gadol. It's a svek sveika. First of all, it's a safek, maybe he's a gadol. And even if he's not a gadol, maybe the Magen Avram. So even though the Chafetz Chaim says ein lismoich, first of all, svek sveike it is. Weiter in Simen Reish Pei Test, the Mishnah Berurah you've caught in Yud, not Bim Koimei right here. The Mishnah Berurah is Soimach on the Magen Avram Ledina b'Shas Atchak, not a svek sveika. The Mokum, a person is Friday night, he doesn't have food. Ayin Sham the Mishnah Berurah, if you don't have food, you have to wait, just like Sukkos by night till Chatzos. The whole shtickle Mishnah Berurah, but he says, b'Mokum that a person is a cholish, or if I remember correctly, he knows that he's not going to have Kiddush. So could he eat without Kiddush? Zok the Mishnah Berurah, you can eat without Kiddush because you already yotze by davening. To say we're relying on the Magen Avram, the Mishnah Berurah is relying on the Magen Avram Ladina. Just to be Messiah, Mamash another 60 seconds in Messiah, and this is the takeaway. Somebody asked the Shaila, I think you asked the Shaila before. Let's just break it down, B'poil. You come home Friday night from shul, you davened, the Magen Avram says you were yotze already to the Deraisa. You come home, you're being moitzi other people, your wife, you're being moitzi other people that if they didn't daven, for them it's deraisa. So how are you moitzi? Klora Shiloh. How are you moitzi? How are you moitzi? So the emes is, you mean she said good Shabbos to you? Yeah, good. So the emes is, that's very good. That's one simple answer, very good. Good, gewaldig, that's the sikum. Like Kivega, she told you good Shabbos, so maybe for her it's also already the Rabbanon. Or you're going to tell me that we had so many kashas on the Magen Avram, for us it's also the Raisa. Unless you say mich that way. Lamaisa, I just want to say that the etzem, even if you made Kiddush already, medin arvis, you could be moitzi somebody else. So for you it's only the Rabbanon. Even if you made Kiddush b'poyol and somebody comes to you and he needs Kiddush, you could make Kiddush to be moitzi. Novos Lamaisa, they speak about it. Begotten Dagel Mervava, they behandle this. Lamaisa arvis from a man to a lady to a man. It's a shaila. It's a sugya. It's a question. It's not so pashut. So Lamaisa, just to conclude, la'oir kola now. Even if you're going to say that you're Alpida Magen Avram, it's the Rabbanon, no. So you have the Kiveger, that your wife that told you good Shabbos is also the Rabbanon. And the other tzara is that good, Mitzvas Shichas Kavana, and no one's Machava, not your wife's not Machava when she tells you good Shabbos to be Yoitza. So maybe for her it's the Raisa, and you're also the Raisa because you also were Machava by Shmai Nesrei. So it's both the Raisa, it can be Moitzi.